If you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, I'm back and it is Wednesday, March 13th and we are getting caught up. This is the second video, just did the 10th and uploaded it. This will cover March 11th. This video will cover March 11th in its entirety. Then we will go on to March 12th and keep going until we get caught up. All right, so let's get to it. This is the first post from March 11th. And Q has included two earlier drops of his, one from 1/27th and the one from February 7th. In this one, Q is saying heart attacks can be deadly. Q. Now, that was obviously before John Barlow died, and here we have on 2/7, and he's saying heart attacks can be deadly, and he's making reference to, I believe, okay, maybe not. All right, anyway, he told us in advance that, you know, heart attacks can be deadly. Nobody really knew what he was referring to at that time. That was on January 27th. That was a little over a year ago. And then just 10 days later, he repeats it. Heart attacks can be deadly. And we know, of course, that John Barlow died of a heart attack. And we also know that Q told us that he was murdered. And we also know that the CIA is in possession of a heart attack gun. So it's not hard to put all that together and realize what happened and possibly why. So let's go on. And this is interesting. It says Q proof, and basically going over what we just looked at. And it says, gotcha, Q. Well, underneath, Q adds time in Russia, and he has 8th in kill brackets. Do you believe in coincidences? Intercepts are revealing. Q. Now, Anons have questioned when John Barlow actually died, the date, and Q is telling us that it was on the 8th in Russian time. I think that's what he's saying. However, John Barlow's obituary says he died peacefully in his sleep on the morning of February 7th, 2018 in San Francisco. So this is a little confusing. Now, was he in Russia, and why? If he was in Russia, why was he in Russia? And why would Q say it was the 8th according to the time in Russia? I don't know. I'm not sure at all, and I'm not 100% sure if I am decoding this correctly. So if any of you have other ideas or other, or you've heard people decode this differently, let me know in the comments below, because it helps us all. We're all wanting the truth, and I'm not so concerned about being right. I really don't care about being right. I want to be right just because I want the right information to get out. But if I'm wrong and someone corrects me, I would rather have that so that I can come back and correct it at a later time. So put it in the comments below, because I love reading your comments too. It's lots of fun. Okay, and we're going up to the next one here. And it says Rod Rosenstein deposition week. Rod Rosenstein departure thereafter. He's not asking us a question here. I don't believe that for a minute. He's telling us that his deposition's this week and his departure will be thereafter. Mueller report post deposition of Rod Rosenstein. So after the deposition, he's telling us, he's giving us the timeline here. He's saying that Rod Rosenstein's his deposition's this week. His departure will be after that. Then the Mueller report will be made available after the deposition of Rod Rosenstein. Mueller sealed indictments installed D.C. prior to Rod Rosenstein loss of power. And again, not a question. He's saying that these sealed indictments were installed in D.C. Prior to Rod Rosenstein losing his power. And he's lost his power for quite a while now. He's cooperating, but he's lost power from what I understand from Q's post. Anyway, sealed indictments, D.C., blockade, last resort, installed post-Sessions, departure, and Whitaker assumption. So the sealed indictments, blockade, last resort, were installed after Sessions, departure, and before Whitaker assumption. Sealed indictments count D.C. post-Sessions departure. Sealed indictment count D.C. pre-Whitaker assumption. Power of Barr. Can a sealed indictment be pulled post-filing? Mueller report, that will go to Barr. Bruce Orr, deposition last week. So this, he's not asking, he's telling us. The Bruce Orr's deposition was last week. Bruce Orr's testimony dump thereafter. Bruce Orr departure thereafter. What other dumps are scheduled to occur? Think timing. Pelosi, poll threat to impeach. Now that I found very interesting. Why did she pull the threat to impeach? Why would she do that? Not because she was being a nice person. So, effort to prevent declass. Letter to POTUS from Pelosi Schumer today. Subject of the letter. Was the impeachment threat real? Of course not. Of course not. No, it was not real, and Donald Trump knew it wasn't real. The only people that thought it was real was the people that were listening to the mainstream media. We know that. Nobody thought it was real. They weren't going to get enough votes in the Senate to impeach Trump. Talking points to satisfy loony left. That's exactly all it was. Talking points to keep the loons occupied, amused, whatever. Sheep do not think for themselves. Base, they don't think for themselves, and the base of the left are sheep. Talking points meant to protect outrage across America, using fake news blowhorn to justify fake investigations and take in donor support. Yes, this was all used, and they used it to raise more support for the Democratic Party because they were saying, oh, look what we're doing. We're taking down a very bad man. We're going to have him impeached. Oh, he's going down. We're going to investigate the crap out of him. Well, they did do that. Didn't find anything, but that doesn't stop them. Impeachment requires facts. Yeah, that's something that the other side is short on. Impeachment requires 2/3 of the vote of the Senate. Another thing that they would never get. And they know that. Propaganda arm of the Democratic Party, fake news, is losing control of the narrative. The truth will always win. Transparency and equal justice under the law. Save America. Q. All right, now we're going to take a look at this from Die Oppressor Liber from the website Disclosure Italia. I liked his decode, and you can't stop me from liking it. Not that you would. I think Q, referring to Mueller indictments in D.C., Mueller indictments were likely pulled by Attorney General Barr once he took office. If this is the case, the total sealed indictment count in D.C. would have decreased from late 2018 to February 2019. Mueller met with Barr and reported his findings to Barr. Barr knew it was crap and therefore ordered a deposition of Orr, Baker, Page, Strzok to be published so the public would be able to see how Mueller report was contradicted by testimony of Orr, Presap, Page, and those who are cooperating with POTUS. Mueller indictment based on fraudulent foundation and publication of these depositions would blow it out of the water. Attorney General Barr likely forced Mueller to withdraw the indictments. And now look at this, Nancy Pelosi on impeaching Trump. He's just not worth it, I think. I don't think he'll be reelected, but it's important for us not to elect something, I don't know, whatever. She has withdrawn this desire to impeach Trump. So interesting. Just out of the blue, I guess, she just decided, yeah, impeach Trump. No, I don't think so. Who knows with Pelosi? Really. All right. Let's go on now. Shall we? Of course we shall. Now, here we go. And Q is giving us a link to a Twitter account. And I have clipped it out to save us a little bit of time. And here we've got anti-Antifa, Trump derangement. They hate Trump so much that he can do nothing right. And this person responds, person named Cat. Now my cats would never tweet something like that because they are very well behaved. Well, actually, they wouldn't tweet something like that, but one of them is well behaved and the kitten's coming along. So Cat here wrote, actually, we hate Trump because he can't do anything right. Interesting. Now, it says here, underneath, Q has said 4 to 6% brainwashed will never wake up, even when presented with the facts. So he's saying that there's 4 to 6% of the public that are so brainwashed, it doesn't matter if they're presented with the facts. They're still not going to wake up. They're still brainwashed. They're still going to spout the same stuff that the talking heads have been saying. They're not going to believe it regardless. So, and the last is he provides a link to this. The historic results of President Donald J. Trump's first 2 years in office. You'll never hear this from the mainstream media now, will you? Of course not. So, together we are building a safe, strong, and proud America, and I do believe that. 2 years of accomplishments. Igniting a historic economic boom, President Trump's pro-growth policies are unleashing economic growth and providing opportunities to workers across the country. Due to President Trump's pro-growth policies, real gross domestic product, GDP growth, exceeded 3% over the last 4 quarters. Real GDP grew at annual rates of 3.4% in the third quarter of 2018 and 4.2% in the second quarter. More than 5 million jobs have been created since President Trump's election, and the unemployment rate remains below 4%. This is the 8th time this year that the unemployment rate has been below 4%. Prior to this year, the unemployment rate had fallen below 4% only 5 times since 1970. The unemployment rate for African Americans in May fell to 5.9%, which is the lowest rate on record. Asian and Hispanic American unemployment rates have reached record low this year. Initial weekly jobs claims have hit a nearly 50-year low under President Trump. Under President Trump, job openings outnumber the unemployed for the first time on record. Recently, more than 2/3 of Americans rated now as a good time to find a quality job, tying a record high in a poll by Gallup. Americans are seeing more money in their pockets thanks to the booming economy. In recent months, workers have seen the largest nominal year-over-year wage growth in nearly a decade. In 2017, real median household income rose to a post-recession high. President Trump's policies are helping to lift Americans out of poverty. African American and Hispanic American poverty rates reached record lows of 21.2% and 18.3% respectively in 2017. Since the election, 4.6 million Americans have been lifted off of food stamps. Consumer confidence has soared under President Trump, recently reaching an 18-year high. President Trump is delivering on his promise to bring back American manufacturing. The National Association of Manufacturers Outlook Index has the highest annual average in its history over the past year. Manufacturing added 284,000 jobs in 2018, the most added in a year since 1997. Small business optimism jumped to a record high under President Trump, according to a survey by the National Federation of Independent Businesses, NFIB. The NFIB Small Business Optimism Index rose a 35-year record in August. President Trump signed the Tax Cuts and Job Acts into law, ushering in the largest package of tax cuts and reforms in American history. Now, this is just some of them, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this link into the description, the video description, so that you can look at this for yourself and peruse it at your will. Perhaps share it with some liberal friends. So, or tweet it out, whatever. Put it on Facebook, spread it. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this in the description box below, right below the video, and I'm not going to read any further because there is a lot here and I've got a lot to cover tonight. So that's what we're going to do, and let's go back and see what Q has to say. And despite that huge, humongous, colossal, ginormous, huge list of accomplishments that Trump has accomplished in just 2 years, he's still saying that 4 to 6% of people, even presented with the facts, are still going to be brainwashed. So let's go on. And here we have, he is alluding to the same thing that we just looked at. And Q is telling us to use this as fodder for our memes. Take those numbers, take those statistics, make memes out of them. That's what he's asking. He's saying memes, memes, and more memes. Hashtag Wake Up America. And these are some of the hashtags that he is suggesting that we use. Hashtag Wake Up America. Hashtag Facts Matter. Hashtag Save America. Hashtag United, not divided. Hashtag Where we go one, we go all, Q. And I think that's an excellent idea. I think that it provides us with lots of material in that article there that is right straight from the White House. We know that it's a fact. And so use that to make memes. If you are a meme maker, then go make some memes, meme maker. So there you go. And let's go on, because we can. And here we are. We've got a link to a tweet by George Papadopoulos. I'm not going to say it multiple times because somebody told me that it made me sound like I was a raving lunatic. Well, they didn't say raving lunatic. They just said crazy. Well, if the shoe fits. But anyway, let's go take a look at the Twitter page of George Papadopoulos. And here it is. And it says, coffee in hand. George and Simona Papadopoulos on the Hill this morning, heading into the Senate Intelligence Committee. So, let's go back to Q. And beneath here, we have another link, and this is to the Epoch Times. And it says, interview with FBI's Gate Core to Russiagate among 53 transcripts slated for release. Let's take a look. And obviously, Q is saying 1 equals 2. The reason why he's going into the, what did it say here? He was headed into the Senate Intelligence Committee. The reason he's headed into the Senate Intelligence Committee, coffee in hand, we're talking, of course, of George Papadopoulos, then it has to do with what we're about to look at here in the Epoch Times. And interview, this is what it has to do with. The House Intelligence Committee Chairman David Nunes arrives at the committee's secure offices in the basement of the U.S. Capitol House Visitor Center on February 6, 2018. Interview with FBI's Gata central to Russiagate among 53 transcripts, slated for release. And this was from September 30th, 2018, updated October 5th, 2018. The House Intelligence Committee voted on September 28th to release the transcript of 53 interviews conducted during the committee's investigation of Russian interference during the 2016 presidential election. The interviews include high-level officials of the Obama administration, such as former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, former Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates, and former National Security Advisor Susan Rice. The first PDF also includes people from President Donald Trump's circle, including his son, Donald Trump Jr., son-in-law, and advisor Jared Kushner, and former campaign chair Corey Lewandowski. While the public has heard the story of many of the interviewees before, one of the transcripts may be the most complete account yet from a key figure in what has become known as Russiagate, specifically his role in allowing the now infamous Steele dossier to become the cornerstone in the FBI obtaining a FISA warrant on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, and by extension, under the NSA's so-called two-hop rule, other members of the Trump campaign. That figure is FBI agent Michael Gata. Gata was, and possibly still is, the assistant legal attaché at the United States Embassy in Rome. Until 2014, he headed the FBI Eurasian Organized Crime Unit. It was Gata who reportedly on July 5th, 2016, traveled to London to meet with former British spy Christopher Steele, the author of the dossier. The trip was reportedly authorized by Victoria Nuland, then Assistant State Secretary for Eurasian Affairs. Steele used unsubstantiated claims from second and third-hand sources close to Kremlin to compile the dossier on Russians allegedly conspiring with the Trump campaign to sway the elections. Steele was paid by opposition research firm Fusion GPS, which was paid by law firm Perkins Coie, which was contracted for the job by the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Convention. Steele was only authorized by Fusion GPS co-founder Glenn Simpson to call Gata a few days before the July 5th trip, according to Yahoo's News, Michael Isikoff's, and Mother Jones' David Korn. I wouldn't want to have the last name of Korn, but what do you do? But that doesn't square with a report by The Guardian's Luke Harding, who wrote that Steele flew to Rome in June to brief on the dossier his FBI contact with whom he had cooperated over FIFA. Harding wrote that Steele had previously provided the FBI with information on Russians corrupting the FIFA Soccer Association in a bid to host the 2018 Soccer World Cup. Steele's American contact in Rome was the head of the FBI's Eurasian Serious Crime Division, Harding wrote. That was, at the time, Gata. Nuland later testified to Congress that she saw excerpts from the unfinished dossier in mid-July 2016. She decided the matter should have been handled by the FBI, she said during her appearance on CBS's News Face the Nation, but it wasn't the dossier that officially on July 31st prompted the FBI to launch a counterintelligence investigation of a Russian conspiracy, even though the conspiracy was primarily alleged by the dossier. Now, I'm not going to, again, this is a very long article. I'm going to put the link to it in the description box so you will be able to look at it and peruse it at your will, or not peruse it at your will, whatever the case may be. Let's go back. So Q is letting us know that, one, the reason that George and Simona Papadopoulos, on the Hill this morning were heading into the Senate Intelligence Committee was this very thing, this that we just read. That's why they were involved in that. Now, I'm going to read this as well. And another FBI deep state player is revealed. His deposition testimony, about to be dumped for the public to consume, Gaeta was Christopher Steele's connection to the FBI. Gaeta was assistant legal attaché for the FBI in Rome. Now we finally see the direct link between FBI, Anna Steele, Gaeta, between FBI and Steele. Gaeta allowed the Steele dossier to become the cornerstone of the FBI's basis to obtain the FISA warrant on Carter Page, which led to the umbrella surveillance of Trump campaign. It was reported by fake news before that Gaeta talked to Steele via phone only one time shortly before July 16th. This was a lie, as Gaeta met in person with Steele in early June. He obtained his intel from Russians who were highly unreliable, and this was the basis the FBI used for FISA warrants. FBI claimed they obtained intel from Australian Downer, who heard it from George Papadopoulos when Papadopoulos told Downer Russians may have Hillary's emails. Shortly thereafter, WikiLeaks dropped Hillary Rodham Clinton and Podesta emails, and FBI basically assumed this must have been what Papadopoulos has knowledge of. Papadopoulos now testifying to Senate Intel Committee. 53 transcripts to be released. Interesting. We're going to have a lot of reading, aren't we? Woo! 53 transcripts. I hope that they are released publicly for our consumption. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Let's go on. And Q is making reference to the post that we just looked at, and beneath it, he is saying Michael Gaeta, FBI, Rome, and notice it is in kill box. So there is the next target, Michael Gaeta, Q. All right, let's go on. And next we have this, and this is the last one for March 11th. So I'm going to get this uploaded after I have finished, and I'm going to go on to March 12th tonight. You can look for that, but in the meantime I have a small errand to run, so I will get this uploaded, run my small errand, come back and record March 12th. Hopefully we're going to get to the 13th tonight as well. So I got a lot of work ahead of me. So anyway, let's finish up with this one. And it has, let me see now. It has, actually, this is not part of that. This is part of the one up there. So here we go. Now, it has a link to Nate Kane's Twitter page and this tweet. Now, Nate Kane was a whistleblower for the Clinton Foundation. He was the one that was raided. Remember when his house was raided by the FBI a few months back? So, we can only imagine how much danger he's in. And he states here on Facebook, some very suspicious things have taken place today concerning my family. I can't get into detail, but it left us all more than a little disturbed. Please pray for us and for our protection. For the public record, I am not suicidal, am in good health, and avoid risky behavior. And Q is saying, stay in the light, saying this to Nate. Remain in open communications with Senator Graham and Grassley regarding the Whistleblower Protection Act, which he falls under because he was a bona fide whistleblower. They will take your phone calls. So this is basically a message to Nate Kane. Q or someone has seen this post, become alarmed. Q is saying, look, stay in the light. And remain in open communications with both Senator Grassley and Senator Graham. You are covered under the Whistleblower Act, and they will take your calls. So there you go, Q reaching out to him, which is a wonderful thing to see, that they are taking his safety personally. Nate was a Clinton Foundation whistleblower and is one of the main witnesses to the Uranium One scandal. Nate's house was raided by the FBI a few months back. So if you are a believer, keep Nate Kane in your prayers. Pray for his safety, for him and his family. He has done nothing wrong. He has only come forward and tried to, blow the whistle on this evil that has taken place within the Clinton Foundation and in regards to the Uranium One scandal. So his family needs our prayers and support. And if you are a believer, I would ask that you would do that. Anyway, that brings us to the end of March 11th, and which is good because at least we're only one day behind now, which we've got yesterday's to cover and today's. So we're one day up behind here, which is better than it was a few hours ago anyway. So that's it for now. I'm going to see you later. Hopefully, maybe you'll be too tired and not off, but I will be back, and hope to see you back as well. Love you guys. I think you're awesome, and thank you so much for all that you do for me. And I know you're always thanking me, but I thank you guys because I wouldn't be here if nobody was listening, right? So it takes all of us. I would have no reason to be here if you guys weren't listening. So there you go. Anyway, I will talk to you real soon, and hope to see you back.